everyone, I'm Megan. I work at EVPL Oak Glen, and in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month, I'm going to highlight some young adult titles today that are by Latinx authors. The first book I want to talk about today is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alira Saenz. This is a book that you've probably heard of before. It's one of the most widely read young adult books I can think of, and there's a reason for its notoriety. It's a book about two boys. They are teenagers in the 1980s. They meet each other at a pool over the summer, and it's just sort of a slower, more quiet novel. It's hard to really explain or describe the plot of this book. It's really just more about the bond that forms between these two young men and how it evolves from friendship into something deeper. It's also about how these young men are dealing with their cultural identities, self-discovery, anger, family. It really dives into some very important and deep themes with a lot of sensitivity. It's a very beautiful book, and there's actually a sequel coming hopefully soon, so this is a perfect time to pick this one up. We have both this title and several others by this author on the shelves here at the library. The next title I want to highlight is Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. Elizabeth has also written The Poet X and With the Fire on High, which are two other really wonderful young adult novels that are here at the library, but Clap When You Land is her most recent book, came out in May of this year. It's about two young women. One is living in New York City, the other is living in the Dominican Republic, and they are actually half-sisters, but they have no idea the other one exists until their father dies in a plane crash. The sort of foundation for this story is a real-life situation that happened in 2001 where there was a plane traveling from New York to the Dominican Republic, and it crashed, and the 260 passengers and crew on board all died in that plane crash. So this story focuses on the two girls and the loss that they are grappling with from their father dying, but also what they are able to gain from meeting each other and letting the other into their life. It's also written in verse or poetry format, so it's just really beautifully written. Elizabeth Acevedo is a poet, and it's definitely one to read. The third title I want to share is called The Grief Keeper by Alexandra Viasante. This is a book that I really, really love. I cannot recommend highly enough, and there's no way I can do it justice, but I will try. It is about a young woman named Marisol who's living in El Salvador. She's never been to the U.S. All she really knows about the U.S. is what she's seen on one of her favorite television programs, but she unexpectedly finds herself becoming a refugee who is fleeing to the U.S. as an illegal. So she ends up coming into the country illegally, and unfortunately her and her family are caught, and she's given the option that she's either going to be sent back home where her family is facing threats of violence, or she can stay in the U.S. if she's willing to become a grief keeper. So in this sort of futuristic society, there is a procedure that can be done where you can take on another person's grief into your body and take it away from them. And that is what Marisol is able to do. And through taking on this grief, she ends up falling in love and finding a way to finally process the grief that she has been carrying, her own personal grief that she has been carrying as well. It's a really, really beautiful book that tackles a lot of heavy, difficult, and timely topics like immigration, grief and loss, of course, family and class. The fourth title that I'm going to talk about is More Happy Than Not by Adam Silvera. Adam Silvera has several other books that you can find here at the library. He's written at least 5 or 6 other titles that are all LGBT young adult novels, and he's a really great author if you've never given him a shot before. So this book is about two young men named Aaron and Thomas and the relationship that forms between them. Aaron is dealing with a pretty recent family tragedy when he meets Thomas, and in Thomas he finds this real friend and confidant. As they get closer and closer and sort of discover more about themselves through their friendship and how they feel about each other, Aaron is at the same time considering going through this procedure that is available in the world that they're living in, where he can have his memories altered. And he has to make a decision about whether he wants to have this procedure done or whether he wants to move forward with his memories intact, and be willing to accept and move forward with the experiences that he's had and with who he is as a person. This book really does an excellent job tackling sexuality and race. It also dives into confronting who we are as people and confronting our trauma and how we do that. And if it's any selling point, this has been compared to Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe meets Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, the movie. So those are just 4 of the titles that you can check out from the library if you're interested in reading one of these books to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month in September. And there are so many other wonderful titles that I don't have time to mention here today or talk with you about. A few that I would recommend are I Am Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter by Erica L. Sanchez, Juliet Takes a Breath by Gabby Rivera, and Woven in Moonlight by Isabel Ibanez. Those are all also wonderful titles that you can check out here at the library.